Iconoclast Speaks.
Hello and welcome to the Iconoclast Speaks. I am the Iconoclast. And again, with me is
Dad Bod.
Woo! We're going to do a more kind of a serious topic.
Yeah, it's not kind of serious.
No, it is serious.
It's pretty dang serious.
Yeah. We're talking about a trend in the world society, in the world, technically, which
Not
is...
a recent trend.
Not a recent trend. It's just...
Not by any means. Yeah,
it's been around for centuries. But, you know, in some aspects, it's more recent. Mm-hmm. But, like, in others, it's been around for a long time. But it's killing for convenience. And we're going to delve into some pretty deep topics here, like abortion, euthanasia, and war.
The death penalty.
Death penalty and the war.
That's
in
in
war.
there. In war,
too.
yeah.
And I want to start out by throwing out this story.
Okay.
That from a Scandinavian country, which I do know which one it is, but I don't want to like throw them under the bus because I don't want people to like go around if they meet someone from there like, oh, you're the country that just kills people.
Hey, thanks.
But they recently, like within the past year or two, announced that they had cured Down syndrome.
That sounds like a good thing.
Yeah, you're like, wow, how do you do that?
Excellent.
Now,
Sign me up.
Now, if you've ever had a kid, they give you the option to do a test in utero to find out if you're going to have a Down syndrome baby.
Mm-hmm. Yep, had it done twice.
And we didn't because my wife didn't care. She's like, oh, if we do, we do.
Maybe
but
we
I think
didn't do it.
Yeah,
is it the one? Is it the one that's like more invasive?
Yeah, it's invasive. You have to stick a needle in and.
Okay, then I think that we didn't do it.
Yeah, because I think it's kind of scary. Like,
yeah,
usually
we did because you do the one.
Yeah,
you do like the first one.
Yeah, and then
there's
more,
like the one that's later on. I don't think we did it actually.
But even the most invasive one, like with the needle and everything, isn't correct. Like at least 50% of the time, and I might be giving that high.
Yeah.
Because I remember that was also part of my wife's like, well, is it accurate? And the nurse said, well, it's like 50, 60% maybe it'll be right. And then my wife's like, well,
and the test is risky.
Yeah, the test could cause premature birth and death to the baby. And
which would sound like terrible things.
Yeah, exactly. So my wife was just like, you know, even if it's Down syndrome baby, we're going to keep it. You know, we had no, and we're like, yeah. So we didn't do it. Well, what they're doing is they're testing and coming back. Okay, you're well, they'd say your zygote or fetus is Down syndrome, which so we terminate it. And so that was kind of what the law became was if it was found to have...
Cured. Problem solved.
Yeah, problem solved. But chances are there's a 50% chance that kid was not Down syndrome. In fact, we had a friend who did the test. They were told it was Down syndrome. They were like, well, we're going to keep it anyway. And the baby didn't have Down syndrome. So that's how I know that it's not always accurate because I actually have friends who did that. So the reason they did it is they said, well... And the article I read was kind of horrible. They actually had a man who had Down syndrome, and they were explaining to him the drain on society he was because of, well, you have to have this and this, and the government has to pay for this for you and this for you and this for you, and the government has to do this, and it costs X amount of dollars to pay for your life. And so, therefore, you're no longer an individual. You're a drain on society because you cost this much money. And so then... They were like, so we don't want that in our country, so all Down syndrome babies are killed before they're born, or fetuses, just to keep it like politically correct, so we don't run off people right away.
Right.
We probably already ran off people, but anyway.
Yeah, they probably just didn't even click. You should change the name of the video.
Yeah,
to something
like flowers
ponies.
and flowers, ponies, and rainbows.
Yeah.
But so I mean that's one like where abortion is used to for convenience. Like if someone and there's people who use abortion for birth control. Like,
which is
that's a whole other thing.
I feel like we could get a lot of people on board with not using abortion as a primary means of
birth control.
But with the way that you described it, it actually sounds more like the death penalty.
Right.
Where, like, the society has deemed that a person with this sort of, like, attribute is not somebody that we want in our society, so then we're just going to kill them.
Right.
Right. Which I think I'm pretty sure we disagree on the death penalty.
Oh, yeah,
but
yeah.
I think that the death penalty, like, policy workability aside, I think that death penalty is just a weird thing for the government to do.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. That's where, and I don't want to get into policy because that's where a lot of my issue is in the policy. But like I have my issue is like the way I view it is for like abortion. I have issue with an innocent unborn, and I consider it a baby because I have 5 kids. So that's kind of shaped my mindset of what's going on there.
Or maybe your mindset was that way, and that's why you have 5 kids.
Well, either way, yeah. But my wife was more for the big family. I was like 1 or 2,
yeah.
and I'd have been okay.
Mm-hmm.
But my wife wanted more, so I was like,
Nice.
cool, I'll do it.
Nice.
And but like so, and I think also my parents kind of raised me that way, like you. But I like my thing is when it's a baby, unborn, then born.
Mm-hmm.
I have the thing that give it a chance, and then later in life, let's say, like for me, death penalty. I don't think everyone that kills someone or that it's not necessarily you kill that person.
Drag him out back,
Like,
shoot him.
Yeah.
Right,
I'm not like,
I know that you're not saying that.
yeah, but like I think there are some people who, when you've crossed a line where like serial killers, those kind of people, like the Jeffrey Dahmers and
Sure.
those guys.
What's his face?
Maybe in
The one with the thing on his forehead.
oh
I can't
yeah,
think of
the
his
guy
name.
who died.
Yeah, he just died. Yeah.
But he was Manson. Charles
There
Manson.
we go.
I think he's such a
We're obviously prepared for this discussion.
But he's such a there's a line of evil where when you reach it and cross it, I think you've kind of forfeited who you are. But at the same time, I think there are certain people who do it because they want to be killed to become like a martyr.
Right.
And then that kind of... So I think with Charles Manson, had we killed him, it would have been more of a martyrdom because...
You think?
I do, because I think there's still crazy... Because there's some
That's
crazy
true,
lady
yeah.
who wanted to marry him.
Everybody's crazy, man.
And so...
And
I mean, it's... I don't know. It's hard to say. I mean, I think... For me, there's just some people who... I'm like, okay, you deserve it.
Right.
But I go the far, like, I kind of
Sure.
want the family members to be allowed to beat them up. Like, in my head, I'm like, I think they should let the dad just go in with a baseball bat. You know, it's like, let him do it.
You can do that if
Negan style.
if you move to a different country besides America, they do that.
Yeah.
But the thing for me is because, like, I'm willing to admit that I have no idea what kind of mindset it takes to be a mass murderer.
No, I don't either.
Right. So
That's good. I'm glad to know that.
Right, and I feel like most people, right?
Yeah.
Most people don't, and then so there's clearly something going on there. That's,
Yeah.
I mean, to use the word evil is kind of like I feel almost like a cop out.
Yeah, yeah.
So something happened, right? Whether it's genetic or psychological or something. Something happened to that person, and they're like wrong. They're incorrect.
Yeah.
Right. The way that society works is that most people, the majority, vast majority, aren't like that person. So.
You hope.
I'm saying, right. So I'm saying, not to kill them because
Yeah.
there's a problem with them. But also, we can't have that person in society.
Exactly. Yeah. So you gotta do something.
So like life in prison with the option of the death penalty elected by the prisoner.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is, like, a lot of times those people who, like with Jeffrey Dahmer, he ended up he was getting life in prison, and then the prisoners decide, no, you're gonna get
you're getting the death penalty
via
Yeah.
a broomstick, and so it was pretty brutal. And in some ways, I'm like, okay, I wasn't sad about that.
Right.
Like-
So and that's the thing too is like, I don't know, because maybe that's just like a kind of like a small scale version of what being. If everybody in the country decides that you're going to have a law where you can get the death penalty, and then a group of your peers decide that you're going to get the death penalty, that's pretty similar. That's pretty similar to what happened in that jail.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So-
everyone in the society
This
in that
deemed
society
you.
deemed you,
And a
worthy
lot of
life.
guys who, I guess.
But I still think that it's not the government's place to issue death
yeah,
to people.
true. But in a way, they do via like abortion because they sanction it, and then there are some. I mean, I don't, but I don't want to get into
And then,
policy
so,
about that, but go
Something else that I kind of want to talk about a little bit, as long as we're on the topic,
ahead. Go.
is that your opinion, man. That's like your opinion, man.
Yeah.
Is an opinion, and he's not. And I don't know. I'm if I'm speaking for you, let
Go
me know.
ahead. I'll
But
let
I feel like you're not. Because I've talked to you a little bit before. You know that your opinion is right because it's your opinion.
Right.
But you also know that it's an opinion.
Right.
And not a fact.
Right.
And I feel like there's a pretty big unwillingness in the whole discussion where people aren't willing to kind of give an inch on the fact that no, you don't know when a person becomes a person. You don't know when a person gets rights. Yeah. There is nothing that proves it. There's only your
opinion of
There's your opinion of it that's based on science or religion or your morals or whatever, but you're not stating a fact when you say that's an unborn baby.
Right.
You're not stating a fact.
Right.
You're stating your opinion that you back up with your whatever
your belief system, your science, your lot.
Right.
And people will come at you with their own versions of their science and whatever.
Yeah, they'll say, "Oh, that's a zygote," or "They're still dependent on their mother."
And mine's right.
Right. But you can use science to defend your opinion, but you can't use science to prove that your opinion is the best opinion.
True.
But you can get pretty close.
Yeah. Like I don't want to jump off subject, but like, excuse me.
Yeah, whoa.
Yeah, my kids put games on here that remind me I need to feed creatures.
Oh, nice.
And I let them die.
Good call.
Because my opinion is, you know what, they're not real.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, but maybe they are.
Ooh,
and I'm
yikes.
killing things.
Oh, yeah, do robots have souls?
Yeah.
Are robots going to be people?
I don't know, someday maybe.
We're all just electrical pulses on the inside anyway.
Exactly. So, like for me, I watch a lot of History Channel and stuff. And one of the fascinating ones is this H.H. Holmes. I don't know if you ever heard of him.
Nope, not a word.
He is one of the first serial killers, and there's a great book called, I think it's called The White City or something. My friend Rick told me about it. I have not read it fully, but I've looked up the story of this guy, and he
spoiler alert, you just read the end?
No, but I already knew this guy was a serial killer.
Right.
Basically, it was during the World's Fair in Chicago, whenever that was, 1890 something.
When was Jack the Ripper?
That's where I'm getting.
Oh, sorry.
This is where it gets crazy.
All right,
now this guy H.H. Holmes was a doctor.
Okay.
He crazy dude. He actually built this crazy hotel in Chicago, which was a lot like the Saw movies.
Really?
And which is where they based the whole story of Saw, was because of this guy. And it was a maze. People would go and they couldn't find their way out. They ended up stuck in rooms, and he'd gas them, watch them die. Then he would skin them, sell the
skins like leather?
well, no, he'd sell the skeletons to universities. And
because he was a doctor.
Yeah, he was a doctor. So they took these, and he killed. They don't know how many he killed.
Did he make a killing on those bones?
Yeah, he did.
Oh man.
The other thing was he took insurance policies out on these people that he'd killed, and then would reap in the insurance. So he was making money off of killing them, and the whole story of this guy is ridiculous. Now the funny
sounds like a pretty smart dude. It's hard to think that person is so crazy.
Well,
because of how smart they are.
Well, here's the funny part. So this documentary I was watching on the History Channel was comparing him to Jack the Ripper, and and they've always said Jack the Ripper was probably a doctor. Well, as they were researching this guy,
like a surgeon.
A month before the Jack the Ripper killing started, he went to London, and he was in London the whole time that was going on.
So they think he's Jack the Ripper,
right?
Oh,
man. And this was before the Chicago killing started.
Sure, yeah.
So he had killed here and there occasionally. Then he had tested, and he got better and better at it. And
he was on vacation.
And his style of killing was very similar to Jack the Ripper's at first, and then he honed it till he got to the Chicago place. And it's funny, like the way they showed it is he was in London for that time period. Then he kind of stopped because some of the pictures and descriptions of Jack the Ripper looked like him. Ooh. Like if you see some of the drawings, it looks like this guy.
Hat.
So he left. And then there was no more killings in London. And then he went to New York, and then there were some copycat killings that were similar to Jack the Ripper.
That they just thought were copycats?
Yeah, they're like, because it can't be Jack the Ripper. But it was very similar, but it was when he was in New York. Then he moved to Chicago, and then did his whole deal.
That's pretty cool.
So, but like this guy,
cool, right.
This guy, here's what's even crazier. This guy was sentenced to death. Okay? Well,
I was waiting for it to come back to the topic.
Right. So he was sentenced to death, and he was going to be hung. Okay. And they put a hood over this guy, and when they hung him, no one ever saw his face again. He's buried. Well, that's what they're thinking because he had so much money. They believe he paid off the guards and paid off this other guy who was sentenced to death to take his place.
Nice.
And then gave that guy's family money because they said 20 years after his death, a guy very similar to him was spotted in London and looked like him, and he was practicing medicine in
he
London.
was done.
Yeah. And so, but it was like, but he was an American in London,
yeah.
but he had changed his name, and the name of this doctor in London was an alias that this guy had used. And it was very insane. It was a great documentary. I was just like, whoa. But like, for instance, this guy was so crossed the line of humanity. Like when I heard, he had sentenced to death, I was like, wow, that's good.
Yeah. So I mean, if his impulse was to wash his hands or to hurt himself, he would just be put in a mental institution.
Right.
But because his impulse was to hurt other people, he goes to a jail.
Right. So
it's clear. I mean, he clearly has a mental problem.
Yeah, he's insane.
100%. That's a psychological issue.
Yeah, I think anyone who wants to kill someone else has a mental problem.
Right.
They have issues. Like, I just think when you cross that line where it's something you want to do. I think that
the idea that you can, I mean, I've done no research, but I think the idea, just being transparent here, I think the idea, I mean, not no research, but I think the idea that you can rehabilitate somebody like that is it's extremely foolish.
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah. I don't think you can.
And so I can see why the death penalty would be a good alternative, because there's like, we're not going to be able to change this guy. He's just a killer, right? He just has something. So there's a switch flipped in his head, and it's over, right?
Yeah.
But the government deciding
to kill it,
that one of its citizens should die seems weird to me.
For now it does. But that you could always change in time. Your opinion might change.
They do. My opinions do change.
Yeah.
Because I get more information, and then I take that information in, and I use that to reevaluate instead of rejecting it and digging myself in.
Like, I always feel bad, or I hate like when people will like do the death penalty argument in particular. They do this a lot. It's like, well, if one of your family was killed, how would you feel?
Right.
You know, it's like, well, yeah, I'd be upset. And,
step one. I don't thanks for insulting my intelligence and thinking that I wouldn't kill. Like, oh, wait a second, that I live in this country too. What?
No, but I mean, it's like at the same time, I always get like when someone throws that out there, I think that's a weak argument, because it's that's just kind of
based off emotions.
Yeah, emotions and like, well, if you go with the Judeo-Christian approach, which you can also argue the death penalty via the Judeo-Christian approach, because there is.
You mean like the one about forgiveness? Is that the part of the Judeo-Christian?
Yeah, if you go with if the New Testament Christian approach would be forgiving the person for killing your person, to the point where I think Jesus even said, those who use the sword die by the sword. So he was advocating not
using the sword, right? That's
what he was advocating not using the sword for conversion and stuff, which got lost in translation.
Using the sword for conversion is a bad idea.
Yeah, there's some religions that still try to use the sword to convert you, and I mean,
that's a different topic.
The Crusades tried; it didn't really work too well.
No, it didn't.
But yeah, so like if you go that approach, if you go that mindset, you could see there's forgiveness, but then I have seen the argument where they say, well, it does say this too, But in the end, you're supposed to leave it to God to judge. So that then gives you your backing of, should government be doing it? Because God should judge it.
Right.
If you go with a religion.
Yeah. I usually don't. I'm pretty secularly pro-life.
I know. Yeah.
Based off of my just my beliefs that people are important.
Yeah. And they are.
And that the government doesn't really have the right to do that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So it's not really my secularly pro-life, which I don't know if that's I don't think that's that rare. I don't think it's that rare.
No, I don't think it is.
And like I said,
I know at least one.
So I think is he next to you? No. So I think and then something that I was thinking, like, one of the things that I grapple with as far as this whole topic, is that I feel like whatever your answer is, it has to be succinct across all facets. Right. It has to. You can't have one philosophical reason for thinking that abortion is wrong, and then a different philosophical reason for thinking that the death penalty is right.
Right.
You can have one coherent philosophical thing that says that one is right and one is wrong.
Right.
Or vice versa. But there's a lot of There's a lot of people that I feel like don't realize how inconsistent they're being
Right.
with their philosophy on the value of life.
Why are you looking at me like that?
Because you're interviewing me.
Oh, okay.
Because this is your show,
work
bro.
Conversation. Man. We're having
You're right.
Come on.
We're kicking it. We're in a garage.
Yeah, drinking
Drinking Pepsi.
and whatever you got, whiskey,
Yeah.
Irish.
I got
whiskey.
it. Yeah, I got it for St. Patrick's Day.
Nice,
Limited release.
nice, very
Nice.
cool. See, and St. Patrick probably would not be for the death penalty because he went back to the people who had kidnapped him and enslaved him and converted them.
Well, look at that.
There you go. So he had forgiveness.
Boom.
You know. So.
Yeah, that's one of the things when, not to get too actually it's on topic.
Yeah.
A lot of people are like, oh, the country, this is, we should say, certain things, certain whatever, and then like, oh, we should be able to have the 10 Commandments up at town hall because the government was founded off of like Judeo-Christian values, right?
Yeah.
And I don't think that that's totally true because we have the death penalty,
Right.
right?
There you go.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So I mean, it's like, and that's been around.
Yeah.
The death penalty is not new.
No.
And I don't think there was some kind of misinterpretation.
No.
I just think that they didn't really. They were like, well, this is how we want to do it.
There you go. That's true.
Yeah.
I think we've beaten this horse dead.
Oh wait,
What?
but there's more.
What?
But what about war?
Oh.
We didn't talk
Oh,
about
yeah, we
war.
didn't. Oh, man, yeah. Well, I guess in war, I think, and I'd like to come back to war at some point as a completely different topic.
Sure.
But inconvenience, I do see, and I don't agree with going to war per se to, like, let's say, if you are on land I want, or if you have a resource I want, and it's it's more convenient for us to take you over.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't.
How many native peoples are you housing in your house right now?
None.
Zero.
None. I
Really?
have no native. Well, technically, I was born here, so I'm a native. I
True.
I can argue that.
True.
But even though Native Americans, not all of them were native either. They came over,
Yeah, they
nobody
didn't
was ever native.
They
Really,
didn't,
to be honest. Now, what's
human life
interesting?
didn't evolve in America. I got it.
Yeah, and then like the Seminole Indians have a very different aspect than, let's say, the Cherokee, because the Seminoles were the only Indian tribe that never made a peace treaty with America.
Oh yeah, they're like, nah, brah.
Yeah, but they're one of the wealthiest tribes in America.
Oh really?
Oh yeah,
Nice.
They got. I mean, like it's funny.
Maybe Kim Jong Un shouldn't give up his nukes.
Yeah,
There you go.
I'm just saying, like they have deals with like Florida State and stuff like that, and that's why it's the Florida State Seminoles. And when other Native American or Indian tribes try to protest that, the Seminole Indians counter-protest them and say,
nice. They're like, hey, we got a good thing going, guys.
We're actually the Seminole Indians. We like it.
Yeah.
And because they're proud of that for
Nice.
them. They actually, a Seminole Indian designed their logo. And
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's cool. It's probably one of the cooler
and
ones.
Chief
It's way cooler
Osceola, like they have a Chief Osceola runs out. And,
It's cooler than the Cleveland Indians logo.
Yeah, well, that's
Yikes.
ridiculous. I think they're changing that, I've heard. So.
It's a little too caricaturish.
And they should have been the Miami Indians because the Miami tribe was in there. That would if Cleveland was have been Cleveland Miami Indians or something. I don't know.
Like the Miami of Ohio.
Yeah. Miami.
That's where
of
Ben
Ohio.
Roethlisberger went to college.
Exactly.
He went to
Yeah.
Miami of Ohio.
Exactly. My mom did too.
Really?
Remember that Miami
Did
of Ohio
she ever get
University?
locked in the bathroom?
No.
Okay,
no.
good.
No,
All
but
right.
she.
Hey, alleged.
Yeah, allegedly.
Alleged.
But she was there way before him.
Good.
So many years before. Sorry, Mom, I outed that you're very old. But yeah, so I think war. There are countries that go to war, like Iraq attacked Kuwait because they wanted the oil. It was for them convenience. We counterattacked. Whether you would like people argue like, oh, we should have never done that, but at the same time, that's where I want to go into a different topic of justification.
I don't.
war.
Yeah, we don't have to get into like any specific wars, but it just again like what I was saying with how I feel like your philosophy on the value of a person's life should also include the justification for war.
Exactly. So, but I think that we shouldn't be going to war, killing people for resources and whatnot, at all. I don't agree with that. So, there. I'm against
Okay.
abortion. I'm against
For the
war,
death penalty.
For in some instances,
Sure.
against war for convenience.
Okay. Oh yeah, and then assisted suicide, terminally ill. Let's get over this whole crap. Just
All right, you know what?
just let them do it.
Yeah, you know what? Well, it's kind of like hospice. I think you
Yeah.
and I have talked before about that, where they get
It's the
morphine
same
and they
thing.
just morphine themselves up.
Yeah.
Like, I think in that case, it should be like, here's the tab, you do it yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I have issue with like the Jack Kevorkian way, where he was kind of like doing it for them.
Yeah.
He was injecting
Well,
it.
I mean, some people can't.
Yeah, I know, but give them a button or something. I don't know. I mean, yeah.
So that they're the only ones doing it. But then there's then you have to have like, then you're also making them call upon a pretty immense amount of courage.
Right.
In the, a part of their life where they can barely breathe.
Right.
So.
True. So, I mean, I don't know where I stand on that. I still have issue. That's one I need to research more.
It's okay.
Yeah. My opinion on that
Trying to
is
figure out how that fits into the grand scheme of death for convenience.
Yeah, there you go. So what are your thoughts on death for convenience? If you're listening to us on Apple, iTunes, or Google Play, check us out on Facebook, The Iconoclast Speaks. Like us, join in the conversation. But thanks for coming by.